Can you imagine spending 13 years locked in a submerged prison, waiting for death to arrive with the next tide? 13 years. Alone. In the dark. The water rising a little more each day. Not knowing if anyone out there still remembers you exist. Not knowing if the world keeps spinning or if it's already ended. Just you, the stone walls, and the sound of water crashing against the rocks. That was KANON of Gemini's fate. And you know who put him there? His own brother, SAGA, the guy who shared a womb with him. The guy who was supposed to be his other half. The guy who looked into his 20S eyes and said, "You deserve to die here. But hold on. Before you feel sorry for KANON, you need to understand something. He deserved it." Let's go back in time. Before the prison, before the betrayal, before everything fell apart, SAGA and KANON were the most powerful twins in the sanctuary. Two identical cosmos. Two sides of the same coin. But while SAGA was the gold saint respected by everyone, KANON was the shadows. Nobody knew he existed. SAGA hid his brother from the world. Why? Because in the sanctuary, twins were considered a bad omen. One of them would always be the light, the other, the darkness. And KANON embraced the darkness gladly. He was the one who planted the seed of evil in SAGA's mind. He was the one who whispered in his brother's ear, "Kill Athena. Take over the sanctuary. Rule the world." He was the one who created the plan that destroyed everyone's lives. SAGA resisted at first, fought against their thoughts, tried to be the honorable knight everyone believed he was, but KANON's voice wouldn't stop. And one day, something broke inside SAGA. That evil personality we all know, the gray-haired SAGA, with red eyes, with the maniacal laugh, was born in that moment. And the first thing this dark version did, locked KANON in Cape Sounion to drown. Ironic, right? The guy who created the monster became its first victim. But KANON didn't die. He escaped, and instead of going back to get revenge on his brother, what did he do? Manipulate Poseidon, create the marinas, start a holy war against Athena. KANON doubled down on evil. For years, he was the most powerful marina general of the seas. The guy behind Poseidon's throne, the true villain manipulating a god like a puppet. And then you ask me, how did this guy become a hero? This is the part that still gives me chill. When KANON finally confronts Athena, she does something no one expected. Instead of attacking, instead of condemning him, instead of treating him like the monster he was, she offers forgiveness. She looks at that man full of hatred and says, "I know who you can be." Do you have any idea the weight of those words? Nobody had ever looked at KANON and seen anything beyond darkness. Not even his own brother. Not even himself. He spent his entire life being the shadow, the dirty secret, the twin who should have died. And suddenly, a goddess looks at him and sees light. This breaks KANON. Not physically, emotionally. He cries, the great manipulator, the general of the seas, the guy who almost destroyed the world, crying like a lost child who finally found a way home. From that moment on, KANON changes. It's not an instant change. It's not a magic trick. It's a painful reconstruction, brick by brick, of a man who needs to learn to be good after a lifetime of being evil. And when the battle against Hades arrives, KANON wears the Gemini armor, the same armor that belonged to his brother, the same armor that represents everything he never was. And he fights not for glory, not for redemption, but because he finally understood what it means to protect something greater than yourself. But the moment that truly defines Kanon, oh, that moment stops your heart. Saga has fallen, defeated, about to be eliminated in the depths of the underworld. The brother who locked Kanon away to die, the brother who tried to kill him, the brother who treated him like trash his whole life. And what does Kanon do? He throws himself in front. He uses his own body as a shield. He takes the blow that was meant for Saga. Why? Because at the end of the day, Saga was still his brother, because the blood was still the same. Because Kanon finally understood that the evil he saw in Saga was the same evil he himself had planted there. The guilt was his, it always was. And this was his chance to make it right. I'm responsible for all of this, Kanon whispers. As he bleeds, I created the monster. I destroyed you. At least, let me do one thing right. Saga looks at his brother dying in his arms. The same brother he condemned. The same brother he hated. And now, in that moment, they finally see each other for real. Not as light and darkness. Not as hero and villain. Just as two broken brothers trying to piece things back together before it's too late. And it is too late. Kanon dies. Saga dies. The two twins who spent their entire lives destroying each other finally find peace, but only in death. This isn't an easy redemption story. It's not a villain turning good guy while everyone applauds. It's a Greek tragedy in the purest sense. Two men trapped in a cycle of hatred and guilt that could only end one way. But you know what makes Kanon special? He chose to change. Nobody forced him. Nobody made him. Athena offered her hand, but he was the one who decided to take it. The guy who spent his whole life choosing evil finally chose good and paid the highest price for that choice. Some people say heroes are born heroes, that goodness is something you either have or you don't, that villains are villains forever. Kanon of Gemini proves that's a lie. He proves it's never too late to change, that even the most lost person can find their way, that the shadow can choose to become light even if that light only lasts a few seconds before going out forever. And maybe that's why Kanon's death hurts so much, because we root for him to have more time, to live as a hero for at least a little while, for him and Saga to have a chance to rebuild what they destroyed. But Saint Seiya was never about happy endings. It was about sacrifice, about honor, about doing the right thing even when it costs everything. Kanon of Gemini spent 13 years in a prison waiting for death. In the end, he chose his own death to save the one he loved most and hated most at the same time.